Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're making a simple creamy tomato sauce and we're going to put some spaghetti in there and mix everything together. And we don't need too many ingredients for this one. We're going to need some garlic, which we're going to chop, and then we're going to need some onions as well, which we're going to chop. And we're also going to chop the tomatoes. Now you can decide to blend them, but in this recipe I decide to just chop them into pieces and then they're going to break down in the sauce anyway. So once we've got all our ingredients chopped, we're going to put a pan on the stove and then just cover the pan with some olive oil. You can decide to use butter if you want a bit more flavor, but olive oil is absolutely fine. And then you're going to fry your chopped onions as well as your garlic in there, and then add your chopped tomatoes. And because I like my sauces or my stews a bit spicy, we're also going to put in some red chili powder. I didn't use all of this because that would have been too much. So about a quarter of a teaspoon, because these are very, very hot. So we're going to add that and then just make sure that we're cooking our tomatoes. I also added some black peppercorns. I just crushed them and then put them in there and then just stirred everything. So now at this point, I also had some chicken broth, and just because we want to get better flavors and better taste, I added some chicken broth to this as well and then let that simmer. Now, if you're the type of person who has issues with seeing tomatoes in your food, in your sauces or your stews, like I said before, you can just put that in a blender and then blend it until it's very fine. I do that sometimes. I sometimes blend it until it's really, really fine. But sometimes you want to have a bit of a chunky texture. We're also going to add some lemon basil. I've probably said this before. I've got a number of herbs growing here. So I basically just had to go out and then just pull that out of the pot that it was in. At this point, you're going to add some cream. I decided to use cooking cream for this one, but if you have heavy cream, you can do so. If you are using heavy cream, you might need to reduce the amount of heavy cream that you are using because cooking cream is a bit lighter than heavy cream, and I believe heavy cream has a higher fat content as well. Add that to your tomato sauce and then just cook that until it has nicely thickened. If it's a bit too thick, don't worry. We are going to add a bit of the water from the spaghetti that we've boiled so that you can thin that out a bit. So next up, we're going to boil our spaghetti. You don't have to use spaghetti. You can use any other type of pasta. And then just make sure that if your packaging says boil the pasta for 8 minutes, we're not going to do that because we're still going to put the pasta into the sauce and then keep stirring until that has incorporated properly. So if your package says 8 minutes, I would say cook it for about 6 minutes or about 7 minutes so that the rest of the cooking time happens when you put the pasta into the sauce. And for this one, I also didn't drain the pasta. It's not necessary. The fact that I'm still going to use some of the pasta water in the sauce means that I don't have to go through that extra step of draining the pasta. So now I'm going to add some of the pasta sauce to the pan with the sauce and the spaghetti. Put that over low heat. We don't want to overcook it. And then just keep stirring that until you've got a nice, creamy, coated spaghetti end result. Now, if you're the type who likes to drown their spaghetti in sauce, that's okay. You're just going to have to make a bit more sauce or use less spaghetti. Now, this was quite a large portion of spaghetti. I did eat all of it. So you can reduce the amount of spaghetti that you used so that you have a bit more sauce left over. But this is perfectly fine. I loved it like this. As usual, when I cook my food, I eat it because it's so tasty. And yeah, so you're just going to put that over the stove, let everything incorporate well. Once it's properly incorporated, that's it all done. And you're going to take that off the stove now and then put it in a beautiful plate. So we're just going to take some of the pasta, put it on a plate. And if you would like to add some protein to this, you can add pork, you can add chicken. I happen to be testing a chicken breast recipe that I had marinated in yogurt. It came out super, super well. So I said, well, since I am just testing and I want this plate to look a bit more beautiful, I sliced that chicken breast up and then put that on the plate. And let me tell you, this chicken breast was so juicy, absolutely amazing, just really, really tasty. And then you can garnish your spaghetti with some cheese and some chopped parsley so that your plate looks a bit more beautiful. And there you have it, an absolutely fantastic looking plate of creamy tomato sauce and spaghetti with some chicken on top. You can eat it without the chicken and it's absolutely amazing. As usual, the recipe, full recipe is on gingerandseasalt.com, so make sure to check that out. And I will see you next time. Happy eating!